Hi guys, Dr. DiNezza with Infinity Holistic Healthcare here with another lab testing mistake. Let's talk about the thyroid. Now I know this one's just been beaten to death. There's a million YouTube videos on it, so the odds of you finding this video are slim to none. Let's talk about it anyway. The thyroid, oh my God, nobody runs the right labs for this. And again, there's a million videos on it, so I'm only going to go into it a little bit. The lab that every doctor likes to run is TSH. TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is actually not anything made by the thyroid. It's made by the pituitary in your brain, and it's basically how loud does your brain have to scream at your thyroid to get the job done. If your thyroid is keeping up and it's maintaining thyroid levels like it should, then it only takes a little bit of a nudge on occasion to get it to do its thing. So normal ranges for TSH, LabCorp is going to say between 0.5 and 4.5. That's kind of broad. With particularly women of childbearing age, I like to see TSH below 2.5. So the range then becomes 0.5 to 2.5. And there's actually a good amount of research and data on that to support that you really need to watch TSH more closely in childbearing age women. Anyhow, TSH, if your brain has to scream down at your thyroid to cut the mustard and get with the program and make enough thyroid hormone, then that signal is going to be elevated. So TSH goes up when your thyroid is slacking off because that's your brain yelling down to your thyroid, hey man, make more thyroid hormone. What are you doing? The opposite is true too. If your thyroid is overproducing, then your brain isn't going to send that signal at all, and it's going to really quiet down and say, no, I'm good for now. But that's TSH. There's also the other thyroid hormones, and most importantly, thyroid antibodies. A lot of people have thyroid antibodies and they don't know. And I get a lot of these people where they'll go to the doctor and they'll get put on some thyroid hormone, maybe, or maybe they won't. It just might have come up in lab testing otherwise, even if they're not hypothyroid yet. And the doctor or the endocrinologist will say, well, come back when you need medication, right? Why are you here? And I had one of these last week actually, and she said the endocrinologist looked at her like, why are you wasting my time? And from their perspective, you kind of are wasting their time. If you don't need the drug that they have to offer, then don't bother going to them. They will literally have nothing to tell you. They have told most of my patients, and they'll tell you again, just wait and come back when you need drugs and then I can help you. Aside from that, they're not going to do anything. That's because they don't know what to do. They're just not trained to do stuff with the autoimmune mechanism and work on the immune inflammatory stuff. A lot of my thyroid people who are autoimmune have some chronic funky infections or gut dysbiosis, or there's something driving the immune system to be overactive. And you can largely help that. I'll do this in another video, the whole scheme of autoimmunity, but you get antibodies first, and then eventually you get symptoms once you've damaged enough of the tissue, in this case, the thyroid. And then eventually that damage gets bad enough that you can get a diagnosis. So if you can catch a thyroid, or if you can catch autoimmunity when you're still in the antibody phase and you haven't damaged a ton of tissue yet, you're going to be a whole world better off than if you had waited until you need medication to work on the immune component to stuff. Anyway, I think I've rabbit trailed enough for one video, but the summary is TSH is actually something your brain produces to talk to your thyroid, and it can give you some information about the thyroid, but not nearly enough. We really need to have more robust testing early in the game, at least every couple years, especially if you have any family history of hypothyroidism. But it's so easy to do the testing. You just need to know how to interpret it. So hopefully you can convince your doctor to do these tests for you. If you're not in a position to do that, you can actually do, I think it's directlabs.com. They will do darn near any blood draw for you for a price. It's more expensive than getting it done through your provider, but it's at least something, and that could be a good way to do it. I don't think it's available in New York State and possibly Rhode Island, but pretty much every other state has direct labs, and you can do it that way. Anyway, I hope this was beneficial, and I'll see you in another video.